tifu by sending a call from the International Space Station to voicemail, by user empathetic apatheist. This happened 2 days ago, Sunday. A friend of mine is currently on his second mission to the ISS. I saw a call come in on my iPhone and the caller ID said US government. I first had that thought/feeling you get when the principal calls you to their office. Crap. What did I do that I thought I got away with, but maybe I didn't? I was in the middle of something with a bunch of people and showed them what it said on my phone and everyone was all don't answer it. Between everyone's suggestion and my gut feeling of being in trouble, I sent it to voicemail. Turns out it was my buddy calling from space. I had a chance to speak to someone that wasn't on Earth and screwed it up. First thing he said in the voicemail was, "You probably saw a call from US Gov and turned it down." I know he'll call again, but damn, I feel like an idiot right now. TLDR, my buddy called me from the International Space Station and the caller ID said US Gov, so I sent it to voicemail and missed a call from space. TIFU by disappointing a man who wanted to get laid by a maid, by user Hollow Sophio Your Heart. I'm a professional house cleaner in a large city. My first house today was beautiful and pretty big, 4,000 plus SQ foot. I had never cleaned this house before today. It's kind of interesting to clean the home of people you have never actually met while they are not home. I never snoop, but I do learn about people just by the state of their house or whatever is out. These people seemed like they really needed us. I would guess they are busy and don't have much time for cleaning and organizing, but definitely have an active sex life judging by the master bedroom. I love cleaning dirty houses and was like amping myself up doing a mini Rocky training montage warm-up and finding the perfect music to work to, Pantera. I was sweating like 4 hours in, but I was getting this house spark clapping hands sign cock clapping hands sign ling. All I had left to clean were the floors when a man walked in. I welcomed him home and let him know I just needed to clean the floors and would be finished soon. He looked super confused and then kind of grinned and asked if I was his birthday gift. I didn't really know what he meant. Maybe his wife scheduled the service on his birthday? I just answered with, maybe. Happy birthday, Mr. Henricks. To which he looked even more confused and told me his name was not Henricks. Well, that's because his next door neighbor, my actual client, is Mr. Henricks. I walked my happy ass into the wrong fucking house and cleaned the hell out of it. And then the guy who lived there came home and thought I was a sex worker role-playing as a house cleaner hired by his wife as a birthday present. I was so totally embarrassed explaining myself to this guy and my boss. The entry instructions in the app said the client wouldn't be home but that there was a key under the mat. There was no key under the mat, but the front door was unlocked. This is not even the first time in my life that I have let myself into the wrong house, although the first time was not a work thing. On the plus side, dude was so happy with how clean his house was that I finished the floors and he paid me what my company would have charged him plus a tip. TLDR, I disappointed a man who wanted to get laid by a maid. TIFU by misusing a whiteboard for 1.5 years, by user Tim Horton 67. I bought a whiteboard when I moved into my new and current house. This was supposed to be the ultimate piece de resistance to my awesome new home office. It took a few months to ship, and when it finally did, I was pretty unhappy with it. First of all, there was this big crack behind it, bending the metal in an unsatisfying way, but it wasn't that noticeable, so I didn't bother sending it back. The worst, though, was that it was near impossible to write on it without leaving ghost marks. And you can forget about letting some writing on it more than 24 hours. As a result, I wound up not using it for most of the last year. Basically, his only purpose was as a magnet holder, when it should have been used for so many different projets. Today, as I finally had some free time, I looked into the process of cleaning my whiteboard, and making it more usable. As I applied some store-bought cleaner, I found this small tear in some kind of plastic coating. I freaked out, ripped it all out and came to the horrifying conclusion that I spent 1.5 years writing on plastic. I now have a brand new, unused board that has been sitting in my office. TLDR, bought a whiteboard, forgot to take the plastic layer off and took way too long to figure it out. TIFU by visiting my batshare *T crazy family in Oklahoma, by usernote Yuravarage malware. TLDR, my mom and sister tried getting me committed to a mental hospital to gain power of attorney, file a proxy divorce, and steal my wife's money. Some backstory: my wife was scheduled for a business trip, so I decided that during her time away I would go visit my family. Since they live in the United States heart of meth heatism, the great state of Oklahoma run and don't look back homa, I knew it would be a chaotic visit but had no idea what exactly was in store for me this time around. After letting my mom know what dates I was coming for the visit, I started getting some weirder than normal texts. Now usually texts from my family go something like this: I read online that snorting hydrogen peroxide is good for your health, or we're taking out a loan to buy a chateau because the jacuzzi we just bought doesn't fit in the house. Mind you, both of my parents are broke, refuse to apply for jobs, and are largely living off my siblings' incomes. But this time, I got a flurry of text messages accusing my wife of secretly abusing me. The reason these messages were so odd is that my family has known my wife for over 10 years and she is literally the sweetest person ever. And ironically enough, my parents are the ones with the past history of abusing all of their kids. Verbally, emotionally, physically, and financially. And my angel of a wife has consistently loved and supported me through the PTSD aftermath of growing up with that kind of abuse. So after reassuring my mom that my wife is still the same sweet, non-abusive person as always, she started going on about secret knowledge she had and wouldn't tell me what it was. Finally I just chalked it up to her being bored and trying to start some sh*t for entertainment purposes. So fast forward to the actual familial visit. Woke up exhausted and decided to treat myself to some coffee at a local coffee shop. The one I was going to was about a 5-mile drive from where my parents live. But I'd been so stressed out from the usual family arguments and gaslighting that highway hypnosis kicked in and I ended up half an hour away. Realizing I'd have to drive half an hour back, I went ahead and called my mom to let her know so she wouldn't worry. Shortly thereafter, my sister calls me. She goes on about how highway hypnosis proves I'm unhinged and delusional. She says I must have something wrong with my brain and need immediate medical attention at an ER. But not the closest ER to me, the closest ER to her. She lives 2 hours from my parents. She says I need to see Dr. X and have him sign paperwork to get me checked into a mental ward for my own safety. When I tell her she's overreacting and that I'm perfectly okay, it was just me zoning out and going on autopilot for the drive, she tells me she and my mom have been noticing a worsening pattern in my cognitive behavior for a while. I ask her what behavior and she won't give me a clear answer. Anyway, I get back to my parents' house and go into their guest house to finish my coffee and send a few emails before fully starting the day. Except I hear a noise in my mom's office, next to the room I'm staying in, so naturally I decide to check it out. Spoiler, it was my mom's cat knocking down a folder full of papers from her desk. Going to pick the papers up, something catches my eye: my name. On paper after paper, there was my name. On an involuntary civil commitment, needing a physician's approval signature for indefinite commitment, power of attorney going to my mother upon my involuntary commitment, proxy divorce papers to be filed on my behalf against my wife, and written statements by my family that my wife had abused me and were therefore requesting annual alimony to be paid to my soon-to-be power of attorney for the remainder of my involuntary commitment. My blood ran cold. Of all the ways to extort my wife for money, they were trying to get me locked up for life in a psychiatric ward to do it. I called my wife, packed my bags, and left without saying goodbye. Thank you all for the advice and positivity. I just wanted to add these updates. The reason I felt it was okay to leave the cat is that my parents treat her like a cat goddess. I think it's common with a lot of narcs that they're able to love pets/plants unconditionally but not their own kiddos. This isn't the first time they've tried getting me committed, sadly. In high school a decade ago we were having a big fight and my parents tried forcing me into the car to take me to an ER to be committed, also I had to use the bathroom in the middle of the fight. They followed me to the bathroom to continue fighting with me and ended up physically dragging me off the toilet. I realize most families aren't like this and I should have gone NC a long time ago. Narcissistic abuse screws with your head pretty badly and I still deal with bad bouts of guilt that make me think I'm in the wrong and need to make amends. I'm applying for a new SSN and changing my name. My SSN has also never worked properly, so it might not even be a real one. Thank you for all the advice on things I hadn't even considered could happen. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry to everyone who has gone through the same thing. You don't deserve that shit and I hope you are able to live a happy stress-free life. TIFU by accidentally stealing a neighbor's mangoes and they've been trying to catch me for a month, by user working_mango3801. I've been in lockdown in Shanghai, China for 2 months. During the first month, residents were basically under house arrest, unable to leave the house to buy groceries, so my neighbors organized group buy where the entire building order food together. One day I, as usual, sneaked out of the building to hang out with friends in a different district. Came back around 11:30 p.m. and saw a basket on the front desk with a couple of mangoes in there. I thought those are up for grabs because they were in an open styrofoam fruit box, looking half empty. So I took some and went back to my room. The third day a friend living in my building came to visit and said the group by chat group was trying to catch a mango thief. I freaked out and went back to check the group chat. Someone said she bought a box of mangoes, couldn't find them, asked if someone mistakenly took those, and 5 minutes later another guy, let's call him detective, said, let me go check the security camera. And the guy went to check hours of footage from 2 security cameras in the lobby, then uploaded screenshots and videos of me taking those mangoes in the group chat. Jesus! The good thing was, because I was sneaking out of the building, I tried to stay low by wearing a beanie, a gigantic mask, and an oversized jacket. The hallway was very dark anyways and even my mom wouldn't be able to tell that was me. The bad thing was, that made me look just like a thief. Also that was already day 3 and I kinda ate all the mangoes already. So the detective guy went back to check 5 hours of footage of the camera at the main entrance, from 6:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Again, because I sneaked in, I was not shown on those footage. Then the detective guy and his neighbors, who were obviously bored to death, started speculating. They first thought I was male, because of the jacket and the beanie, then female, based on my shoulder/head ratio and the cut of my pants, apparently, that I live in floor 1 to 3 on the west side, I don't, that I must had went back to the garage to grab something from my car before coming back to the building, since I was carrying a bag, I don't own a car and I needed a bag to carry my PS4 controller and some games to the friend's house, that I must be an experienced thief because I went straight to the pile of mangoes and started putting them into my bag, for fuck's sake I did not know those were private property. Anyways, in the past month I tried to buy some mangoes to give back to the neighbor, but my order kept getting cancelled so I haven't succeeded. I went back to check the price of the entire box and it was around $10. Last night, it has been a month since the mango snafu, I got invited to one of the neighbor's house for dinner. We drank and talked about random things until the detective guy showed up. He quickly started reviewing the mango case all over again, including the fact that he recently went back to the crime scene to reproduce my route. So there I was, the mango thief, sitting next to the enthusiastic amateur mango detective, his next door neighbor who just didn't want to hear one more word about mango, my next door neighbor who's a policewoman and an expert in theft cases, and the host who had no idea what was going on. TLDR, a guy spent over a month trying to catch me, who accidentally took someone else's mangoes.